Eszterházy Podcast.
Hi, this is the Eszterházy Podcast, the voice of youth, a podcast about international student life. My name is Kristina Nagy, and today we will talk about the Stipendium life and the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship opportunities at Eszterházy Károly Catholic University. My guests today are
Lindsey Cuen
from the Eszterházy Károly Catholic University International Student Service and
Rahul John,
scholarship holder and one of the mentor leaders. Rahul came from India to Hungary in 2023 and now he's studying international relations at the university as a master's student. Rahul, where did you first hear about the scholarship program and what motivated you to apply?
Oh, thank you for this question. Well, it's very interesting. When I first heard about this, it wasn't like directly, you see. So it's like I was just browsing through the internet, and to be honest, I was kind of like searching for maybe a scholarship in Germany and Italy. But then all of a sudden, I just came across this post that there is a scholarship opportunity in Hungary. I was very surprised and I couldn't believe it that Hungary is also providing scholarship opportunity. So I started my research journey from that point in time. And about my motivation to apply, well, I just wanted to, indulge in the international arena, because as you know, I'm studying international relations, and the best thing for me is to be able to network, meet people, learn about different cultures, about the political scenario in Europe. So yeah, basically that was my motivation.
Could you give us a general idea of how Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship work, what it is?
So as per my understanding, the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship, it's available for I think over 90 countries in general, and myself being from India, well, I'm very glad that I was able to apply for this scholarship. So first of all, it's like you need to be, I would say, excellent student. I'm just kidding, it's not like that. You just need to excel in your field. If you think you're good enough, and if you think you have what it takes, you can just apply for this scholarship. Firstly, what I do is I went to the online portal. So the thing about this scholarship, the Stipendium Hungaricum scholarship, is that you can apply completely online, basically. So it's like I go to the portal, I open my account, my profile, I upload my documents, and basically it's like stepwise, So once you start, it's very, very simple, I would say.
Yeah, I think the goal of this scholarship is specifically to help other countries become acquainted with Hungary and to introduce Hungary to other countries and to become more intercultural as a nation. I think that Hungary is a wonderful country. Obviously, I chose to live here and I'm from a different country and I hope to stay here the rest of my life. And so I think because Hungary is so small, they often struggle with getting exposure to other countries. And so I think a big part of this scholarship is to introduce Hungary to other students and to encourage others to come check out Hungary and get to know it.
What opportunities does the scholarship offer to a student during their stay in Eger? What are the advantages of it?
I think that there's many opportunities that are available to students here. We have a few different types of scholarship students, two mainly, Erasmus and Stipendium students, and so that's the bulk of it. But we try to treat them all as students, just as they are. And we offer them a mentor network that is there to assist them. And Rahul has actually been a big part of helping us organize that this semester and organize individual mentors per new student. So each new student gets their own assigned mentor. And the goal of this project is so that the students have a first line to go to when they have questions or issues or they need help. They're able to go directly to their mentor. The mentor is also a student themselves, and so they're maybe not always available, but they understand the difficulties of student life and how everything works and the intricacies. We are not students in the office, so I actually was recently, but I'm done now, but most of us don't actually know it from the student side, and so that's a benefit of having a student mentor. And then also the mentors organize different events for the students. And so we do our best to make sure that they feel at home here, that there's a community, they have things that they can do and really get settled here. As far as advantages of being a scholarship holder, I think that it depends on which program you're with. They each get a certain amount of funds per month, and this is for them to live on. They are also, if you're a stipendium student, you get a place in the dorm, you're guaranteed. Then they have a small amount of funds that they can live on throughout the month. And I think this is a way for them to be able to experience life here and see what it's like. But it can be challenging, I know, with the funds. It's struggle to learn to live on a smaller amount of money.
Okay, so I would like to elaborate about the funds part and the struggles. As a master student, I receive around 43,700 forint per month. And apart from that, for the dormitory allowance, it's like around 40,000 forint. And we even have our personal insurance covered. That's like 65,000 forint per person per year. So I think it's great. But, coming to reality, if I talk about the local inflation and everything, to be honest, some students, they face some difficulties. But, when there is a will, there is a way, So many students are working in Budapest. They are even working here in Eger, searching for part-time job opportunities. So even though it might be a bit difficult, but, there is always a way out.
And Rahul, as you mentioned, and Lindsey also mentioned, you are not only a scholarship holder, but also a mentor for incoming students at the university. What challenges do you face as a mentor, and what challenges do your mentors face most often?
So I'm very privileged to be a mentor. I am so grateful. But most importantly, I became a mentor because I really like to help people. I like to guide people because I put myself in their shoes. So I imagine myself when I came over here for the first time, and it's a new country and there are so many challenges, so when new people come in, they have so many questions in mind, and to be able to be there at that point and assist them to make them feel comfortable, at ease, I would say it's one of the best feelings ever. Talking about the challenges which mentors face, so first of all, I would say is the exposure part. Right now I'm studying in the second year, my third semester, and I made sure during my first year to get as much as exposure as possible. So I learned about the Hungarian culture, the Hungarian language. I traveled a lot. I have been to around 25 Hungarian cities so far. So the main thing is to gain exposure. So I would say many mentors, in order to help people, the students who are arriving for the first time, it's like we should know how things work, first of all. So I made efforts to learn how the system works in Hungary. So luckily, if I talk about myself, I was able to assist people when they were coming in and solve their general questions and doubts.
I think also what is most challenging for mentors is that they are students at the same time. So they're students, and then they're also like parents of little students. And they have this responsibility in some way to help these little students figure out what life is like here, and everything that they've already struggled through and learned. Now they've sort of got to pass it on. And I think it can be good, but also really challenging to balance that with your school and if you work and all of those things together. Another thing is we have both international and local mentors. Predominantly our mentors are nationals, Hungarian nationals, but we have a few international mentors. And this can be challenging because a lot of times the help that the student needs is specifically related to the language. And they need help with translation, or they need help at the immigration office and things like that, which it's really useful if somebody speaks the language. So that can definitely be challenging. But I think as we work together and we have a large network for the mentors, we're able to share the load and help each other out. And it also creates a sense of unity and a family.
You both came to Hungary from another country. What was your first impression of the city? How did you overcome the cultural shock that you experienced?
Culture shock, where do I start? I'm from India, I'm from South Asia.
It's night and day.
Yeah. It's so different. It's so unique. Everything, the whole system, from scratch, from day one, it was so difficult. So obviously, the Hungarian culture, the system, it's so different compared to my Indian culture and system. Okay, first of all, I'll talk about the food. It's so different. In India, we have spicy food, all types of different options. Well, over here in Hungary, I don't want to sound a bit offensive, but Indians would consider the food a bit bland, you see. But the thing is, for me, I've even like lived in different countries, so for me it's like I really enjoy. But for the rest of the students who are arriving, I would definitely I would say that it's a big huge shock for them, when they're searching for the food. When I arrived here for the first time, my first impression of the city of Eger city, I was like, wow. I mean, to be honest, of course, I'm a person who likes to do research, so I did a lot of research online, so I knew exactly what to expect. But when I arrived here, the charm of the city just took me off my feet. I mean, it's so amazing, Dobo Square and the university building, it's like a dream, you're living a dream. So for me, it was like just truly, truly amazing when I was here for the very first time.
I am the opposite of Rahul. I do not do research at all. When I first came here, into Hungary, I was 20 and I came here to go to school, and I researched nothing and had to figure out how to get from the airport to this tiny village down south by train. It was quite challenging. I remember specifically going to the bus station at Déli pályaudvar, and I asked for 3 train tickets, and I was holding up the 3 middle fingers because in America that's how we say 3. And she looked at me and she tilted her head and was confused, and she held up the other 3 fingers and I said, I don't really care which finger, I just need 3. And I didn't know these differences, right? And I just remember finding it very quaint, very sweet, very sort of traditional, and I fell in love with it then. But then I came back 12 years later to Eger, and at this time I was actually traveling around to several different cities looking for where I would live. And when I came here, I remember specifically walking through the Bishop's Garden, the park, and I remember thinking like, I could totally live here. It's so beautiful, and the city is so charming, and I just remember thinking, yeah, I could definitely live here. And I have now for more than 10 years.
And what do you think, how can people prepare well for a scholarship period? What obstacles can people moving to a new country face?
I think that, when it comes to, we talked a little bit about homesickness and culture shock and these things. I think that you should first recognize that this is going to happen. It's part of the process and it's natural. As far as preparing for coming to another city and preparing for studying, I think it depends on your personality. So Rahul, as he said, is a researcher. He studied, he looked into it, and that was good for him. That calmed him. I don't have the patience for it, and I didn't, but I really enjoyed the excitement of figuring it all out as I got here. And so I think that's a big part, is do what you feel most comfortable with. If it helps you to know all the details, then definitely, by all means, research it. And then I think as far as what helps you prepare for this time period, I think it's more about attitude. It's about attitude. It's about understanding that I think most importantly, understanding that you're a guest in this country. And that's something that even now, after almost 11 years of living here, I try to remember. I'm a guest here. When I don't understand why people do what they do, when I don't understand why they look at me like I'm an alien, different things like that, I always try to remember I'm a guest here. And if you can remember that, then you'll have a much better time and you'll have a much easier time adapting. And just another thing that I think I would recommend, so a lot of it is just really mentality, is when I first came here, everything was beautiful. Everything was new and beautiful and exciting. And I remember thinking, I'm going to get used to this and then I'm going to forget how blessed I am to be here. And it's really important, and I do this often. My boyfriend and I were just talking about this, that we want to always remember, like, we're blessed to be here. This is such a beautiful city. People come here on vacation. Like, this is a tourist spot in Hungary, and we get to live here all the time. And so I think it's really about setting your mind to remember and see all the good things and not focus too much on all the challenges. Yeah, I guess I would say that.
I would like to add another aspect about the, initial obstacles. So, of course, the language, the Hungarian language. Oh, people really dread it, because, they might have seen online that it's one of the most difficult languages to learn in the world. And when they arrive here, they expect everything to be written in Hungarian. Well, that's not all true. When you arrive at the airport, you're going to find instructions in English and Hungarian. And even when you make your way to the Keleti railway station, from Keleti you come over to Eger railway station, and from there onwards you're going to find instructions in English. So I would say don't be too concerned about that. I mean, you just need to have maybe Google Translate installed on your phone. And yeah, pretty much you're going to manage. It's not going to be that difficult, the language aspect, I would say.
I would like to recommend a really good book that I used. It really helped me to learn Hungarian. So if somebody is planning on coming, they should use it. And it's called Hungarian the Easy Way, which is kind of ironic because there really is no easy way to learn Hungarian, if we're being totally honest. But I would say if I were to rewrite the title, it would be Hungarian the Easiest Way, because for me, it was actually really useful. It's a small book. It comes with a workbook and a course book. And so you learn first, every chapter you learn a bit of grammar and then a bit of everyday communication, and then you practice it in the workbook. And it also comes with the CD. And it uses comics and different characters, and you follow them through their lives as you learn the language. So I found it really useful. For me, I don't do well with like just theoretical books or dry German style books. I need a little bit more interaction. So for me, that was helpful. Another book I want to recommend is called Foreign to Familiar. This is a really good book. It talks about the differences between hot cultures and cold cultures, or hot climate cultures and cold climate cultures. And it talks about how that comes across socially, which I find is really important, because you think you understand the size of the world until you live somewhere else and you're like, why do they do that? And then you realize later there are reasons they do that. A lot of it has to do with their history, and a lot of it has to do with the way they were raised and these things. And so this book really helped me understand the difference between cultures and the social aspects of it.
We've talked about scholarship opportunities, but what does the Eszterházy Károly Catholic University offer to students with scholarships?
Luckily, my university, they provide so many opportunities, like different events. Like, I'll give you an example, the cooking night event, So in this night, basically, students from different countries, they gather together and they cook their national dish or whatever dish which they like from their country. And it's a very special evening, basically.
And it's a competition. And last year, Rahul won the competition.
Wow,
what did you make?
Oh, so I made my Indian special pudding. It's called kheer. And basically, it has very simple ingredients like basmati rice, milk, almonds, cardamom. And, that's pretty much it. And I was pretty surprised that people loved it, because I didn't really expect that people would love it. But, it's like sometimes things happen when you don't expect it. And I was awarded the first prize.
Yeah, I think also we get to see each other's cultures through food and through different performances. So there were dances, there were music, there was all kinds of things that expose us to the different cultures. Some other things that we offer to our students is that we have an international room. This is a place in the dormitory that's there. We created it just a few years ago, and it's there just for the students to go and have a place to sort of hang out and get away maybe from their roommate if they want to kind of be alone, or to have a party if somebody's birthday is coming. And it's a place where they can make tea or coffee. They have board games that we've purchased so they can play board games. There's a large screen TV so they can watch matches or different things like that. And it's just a place for them to have fellowship and have a place to hang out. We also offer a few different courses that are specifically for our international students. The Stipendium students are required to take a Hungarian language course. And this is just a basic course helping them to get a bit of a foundation since they're going to be here for their full degree. And then we offer a Hungarian culture course. This is really great because it exposes the students to the Hungarian culture and gives them an opportunity to see different parts of Hungary in the process. So those are a few things we offer, among others.
In the end of our podcast, do you have any insider tips for those interested in applying? Any do's and don'ts?
Oh, sure. I mean, I just imagine, it's like you're super excited applying for the scholarship. You're anxious, So definitely myself being over here for 1 year right now, I do have some tips for those who intend to come over here. So firstly, don't be anxious. When you apply, just know that, you just need to go through all the steps. And for some people, it might seem a bit intimidating because there are like so many steps to go through, I'll tell you. So last year, the timeline began from January all the way till August, I would say, So you need to cross all the steps one by one, give your interview and things like that. So I would say just be calm, give the interview, submit the documents. They will approve all the documents. And some people also in the end, I would say they are very anxious about their visa approval. So I would say don't focus on that. Just focus on the priorities, the main things. You are coming here to study, so I would say your main focus should be over there. And I'm pretty sure that everything is going to work out just fine.
I think I would also add that a few things. So first, please do read the emails that we send. I say this because part of my job is to help our students prepare to come and then help them once they arrive. The problem is it requires sharing a lot of information, and sometimes they don't want to read it, or it might be too complicated, or it's really a lot of information, but it just requires that you read it. We try to keep it as concise as possible, but we really have no way of giving that information over to the student before they come except for an email. So please keep an eye on your emails and try to read through all the details and respond when we ask you things, because that's how we can best prepare for you to come. As far as don'ts, I would say don't come here without a willingness. So don't come here without being willing to live with somebody who speaks another language, without being willing to understand the different cultures and be open to it. I've found that we have people who come here and they'll say, oh, I want to live with somebody who speaks Japanese or whatever. And it's like, well, you didn't come here to be in your country. You came here to be exposed to other countries. So try to be more open, right? Do try to be more open and try to be open to exposure. And finally, on a don't expect mentors or our office to be your personal concierge. We're here to help you and we want to, but we've found that some students come and they're feeling a bit entitled, like messaging at 2 a.m. and things like this. And it's important to remember that everyone else here is working hard to make sure you feel comfortable, but they also have other responsibilities. And so try to be remembering that in the midst of it and be grateful for your mentors who are volunteering to help you, because it really is volunteer work.
And we are really happy to welcome all students who choose to explore the world and come to study here at Eszterházy Károly Catholic University. In case of further questions, students can reach the International Office at the following email address: studentmobility@uni-esterhazy.hu. Dear Rahul and Lindsey, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. It was my pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much. I loved it.
Eszterházy Podcast.